My letters to the IRS remove me from jurisdiction, changing my status and allegiance, revoking my election, revoking my autograph. But HISA tells me I still need to file returns in the future if I receive a W-2, 1099, and of any kind. Can you please explain that? Absolutely. If you read the documents, you're actually looking at changing your position on a trust, if you will, an adhesion trust. Now, we tell you, do not. I mean, if you can help it, do not utilize the Social Security and do not get a W-2 or a 1099 again. That's what we say to you. But if you're going to, and you're going to have to file a return, you need to file a return as the beneficial interest and not the registered organization trustee. And so it's without explaining that component of how to sign 1040s, it's all a matter of contract law. It's all a matter of what you're saying about who you are on those agreements. And but to be completely out, it's not to straddle that line. It's not to play dodgeball with the IRS every year. They're gonna, because we have seen where people have crossed out that entire paragraph and then the IRS comes back with a 5,000 frivolous, fine or whatever, and people don't know what to do with that, and they come to us for responses. And how we deal with it, I am not a taxpayer. I am not a United States citizen, but that artificial person known as the all caps name absolutely is. And I'm filing this return as the beneficial interest and not responsible party, because we've made you the responsible party. And but we're doing our good faith for the registered organization to make sure that a return is filed. And the question is why are you receiving a W-2 or 1099? That's the question. I wouldn't have a job with a company if it were me. To be private, I would go to the company. I would say, this is what I've done. I've changed my status. Here's a copy of the paperwork that I filed. I cannot file with that Social Security anymore. I need a new W-4. I can put zeros on the new W-4. But that's not going to negate the fact, any zeros under the Social Security field, that's not going to negate the fact that maybe that company has some knowledge, because there is some Supreme Court rulings that if you're going to be utilizing a corporation and becoming an employee, they still might hold on to federal taxes. Some companies I know do, some companies I know don't. And you can fight the ones that do, because you don't have an obligation as a state citizen to quote unquote pay taxes to the federal government. And you're not using the Social Security, and you're not using the all caps name, and you have a right to a wage. And those are argumented, you can use those from an argument standpoint all day long, but why? If it were me, I just wouldn't even take the position of being an employee for anybody at all. Those are words that I don't want. The income is a word I don't have, I don't want. And I know people like, hey, well, how are you going to work? You know what? How are you going to work if you're told to get a jab? Are you going to get a jab? No. So you're not going to work. You're going to start your own company, or you're going to find somebody that's willing to employ you through your foundation. These are things, this is going to change the broad spectrum all the way across the board. And if you're worried about it right now, you better be more worried about it in 2 or 3 years, when they say you have to have a chip in your hand in order for you to receive a wage or to work at a company, or to buy food. You have to start taking those things right now as like, well, if I'm, because you say, solve this riddle for me. It's not really a riddle. Quit the job. Don't have a job. Don't receive a W-9 or fill out a W-9. Don't receive a 1099. Don't receive a W-2. Don't file that W-4. Quit the job, because you're going to be forced to anyway in a few years. Either jab, supplant, and they're gonna take a chip and supplant it in your wrist or your forehead. That's where they're going in 4 years. Get used to it now. Walk away from the element of needing to have employment someplace and formulate your own useful sales structure model to an industry and create your own stuff, or go find an employer that will pay your foundation. all kinds of HISAdvocates members have switched their employment to their foundation. All kinds. Company still gets the deduction. They don't have employment tax. They don't have to take care of you on insurance. They don't have to do any of that. Switch it. The taxes that were deducted before are 100% now to you. You could buy your own private insurance through a Christian insurance company that we can give you, and you can have that same level of quote unquote relationship with the same level of employer, making more money, utilizing the leftover funds to serve God in whatever capacity to fight this evil that's coming, and you win. So instead of letting it be a paradox to you and how are you going to get it done, restructure everything. Anybody that's requiring it, smoke them, get rid of them. Anybody that's willing to be flexible, and trust me, these employers, they're nervous. They're a lot of people are going out of business because people do not want to get the jab. And you don't think the mark is going to be worse? It's going to be way worse. And so we have to be thinking about ways to be in an operation of exchange or commerce without catering to the needs of what they're going to be bringing forward.